All right, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us on what will be our second podcast for DirectXbox.com, loosely or temporarily titled the DXB Podcast until we come up with a better name. By the way, if anyone has any suggestions for that, feel free to let us know on the forum. Hopefully this will be a little shorter than the last one. If it felt long to you the last time, it was our first podcast. We wanted to get a lot of stuff in. This time is going to be a little more to our normal routine, so we're hoping to keep it between an hour and a half, I think, is our goal. So we have 5 people here today. I am Chanogram, otherwise known as Channing, if you want to call him my real name, and we'll let everyone else introduce themselves now.
I'm gonna go next, I guess. Landshark. My name is Scott, aka Landshark. Go ahead, Dom.
I'm Dom, aka Carnelson.
Average gamer guy.
And
the last person who
apparently doesn't want to introduce
MW
themselves.
did MW disappear?
Apparently MWJW got struck by lightning. His name is also Michael.
You said mute your mic, my bad. Anyway, hey, I'm MW. Gamertag MWJW.
All right.
My bad.
So
I was looking up numbers.
No, it's all good.
So
Cabin Terror, who's normally here, is not available as of the time of this recording, so he should be back.
Now I bet Channing's muted. Someone?
No, we're good. Sorry. Just
Good
Great
start.
yeah, we do what we can here. I just want to let everyone know, Cabin, who's normally here, Cabin Terror, as he's known on Xbox Live and the forum, he is unavailable at the time of this recording, so hopefully he'll be around for the next one. He's got a lot of new stuff going on. Someday when he's on the podcast, he can maybe tell you about that. But he'll be hit or miss probably going forward, but hopefully he'll be here next week.
He's out shopping for a bell.
Yeah, so you can all hear him next time. He needs one of those buzzers. All right. So we're going to go right into... Actually, I have one thing I want to talk about real quick regarding the forum. I think some other people have a couple things they want to chime in on this as well. I'm not going to name any names. I'm not going into specifics, but as in a general rule of thumb for our site, you have freedom. We created on the premise of everyone being able to say what they want to say without fear of being deleted and banned and everything else. But there are lines that we draw in a sense that we don't want people to cross those lines. Obviously, if you go way out of line, you're going to get a ban or you're going to get punished in some form or another. But as long as you're within reason, typically the worst that'll happen is a topic will get locked. If we feel a topic is devolving into something it shouldn't be, it's totally off topic, it becomes more of basically two people just arguing about something and talking in circles. We don't want new people to come in and see that as the first new active topic they see is just more of the same stuff they see on every other site. So just keep that in mind. What you put in there also represents the community if anyone else comes in looking potentially to join. I know Landshark has something he wants to say on that too.
I just want to say, on the same topic, if you do find yourself in a thread that's totally derailed or you derailed it yourself, feel free to create a whole new topic with what you want to discuss differently from the one topic, and posted a link in there and just continue the conversation in the new topic section. Totally cool to do that.
Or just take it to PM.
Or take it to
definitely go to private messages.
Yep, and that's totally fine. We have limits pretty high on the private message, and I think it's set currently it'll delete your oldest message, so you're never going to miss a private message if your inbox fills up. So if you're going at it with one other person and you want to keep that discussion going, with that other person, you can always do it in private message. No one, you have a little more freedom in there, unless you say something totally out of line and they report you there. But you're more than happy to discuss with people in private messaging. Everyone who's posted more than 10 posts should have access to private messaging. So. And
on that same topic, actually helps a lot. I've been in many conversations where it got a little heated, and I ended up just kind of taking it into PMs, and it became a pretty cool ending to the whole argument or conversation. So.
Yeah, if you try to keep it on topic and less personal, it always helps no matter what you're doing. So
Yep. I don't think we have a whole lot else to say on that. Carnal or Average, did you guys have anything you wanted to add on that one?
No, you covered it all. Just The topic is the topic. If you feel that there's something else on that topic that you need to discuss, create another topic, or like you said, talk directly. It shouldn't be, I shouldn't come into your topic and take it over and you be okay with it. We have more than enough room for you to do what you want to do.
And we're not talking about, like, if you bring something up that's in line with the topic, that's fine. Just don't continue that in-line discussion all the way through it, derailing it. If that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no limits on how many topics you can create. So if you want to create a new topic to discuss something that's related but not necessarily directly related, and maybe thinks need its own topic, go ahead and create it. If we feel like there's another topic that's directly related, we'll merge them together. We'll let you know. But there's nothing wrong with creating topics. So I think that's about all we need to say on that. So we'll go on to the next one. This is we'll just call it what we're playing. And I'll go first. I'm playing the same stuff as I was playing last week.
Exciting.
Yeah, well, there's not a lot of new Xbox One games coming out. I did buy a game, but I didn't get a chance to play it yet. Unfortunately, I was going to try to before the podcast, but I haven't. So I've been playing a lot of Forza 5 still.
Nut Jutsu.
Yeah, Nut Jutsu.
Yeah.
I actually bought that one. I have not played it yet. It was only $6.50. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully by the next podcast I'll talk about it.
Apparently, that is a browser game. In other words, while you're playing another game, you can snap that to the side and play it. It is an app.
That's actually the first game we've seen as an app, which is pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting.
Intriguing.
I don't know if anyone else has tried it, but I'll let everyone know how it is next week though for sure, because I'll definitely have time to play it before then.
I demand Pong.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Landshark.
I just want to say, I think we're going to see a lot more of that as we get more of the Windows 8, Windows Phone, and Xbox all kind of seamlessly.
Oh yeah. Well, they always said we're going to involve the party experience, so this might be pretty much what they're talking about, or getting close to it.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah, as far as the rest of the stuff I've been playing, just your typical, playing a little bit of Battlefield 4 again. I haven't played that very much since Titanfall came out, but I've played a few rounds lately, and when I play game modes that I like Deathmatch and Domination, the smaller game modes actually do pretty well. When I play Conquest, I do pretty terrible. So, as Av3rag can attest to, since he's watched me put up some pretty terrible scores.
Right, as long as we get the win.
Titanfall, still fun. And Kingdom of Amalur, I'm still picking away at that. I'm like 14 or 15 hours in now on that one, with probably another 25 or 30 hours to go, the way I play it. So, alright. Someone else can go. We'll go Landshark next.
Okay. I've actually been trying to reach rank 50, Gen 1 rank 50 in Titanfall still. I managed to get to 48 yesterday, so I'm almost there. I'm pretty much, thanks. Yeah, you're all cheering for me, it's cool. I'm pretty much hit or miss in that game. I have a really good match, and then I have a really terrible match. It doesn't make any sense because I had a really great, awesome match where my teammates were all Gen 1, and everyone else was like Gen 4 or higher. And we ended up winning by a lot, and it didn't make any sense, but that's the way it was. It was kind of cool. Anyway, I played Titanfall, and I'm still playing Child of Light. I don't know how close I am to the end, but I'm having a lot of fun with that game. And my wife actually enjoys watching me play that game too, which is kind of cool. And then, is this my time to bring up... I'm going to read this.
This is your time. You can spend it however you'd like.
Like the whole WildStar thing, because I am playing on the PC side. I've been playing the open beta of WildStar, and if you don't know what WildStar is, it's the new MMO coming out on June 3rd. It is made. I think it was 17 of the people from WoW came over and created the WildStar. It's Carbine Studios. Sorry, clear my throat there. And they're basically making a pretty awesome MMO. And I was kind of skeptical at first. I've seen a lot of hype for it around the internet, and some of my own friends and coworkers. Played in the open beta, and I'm really enjoying it. And I've watched many hours of dev speak videos from the devs and gameplay videos and stuff like that. And I like 99% of what they're talking about. I think is awesome, and it's impressive to me. They have a ton of content in the game when it's released too. Right now, even in the open beta. So if you're in MMOs and you have you're a PC gamer, check it out. I think it's worth checking out. And actually, the open beta still goes for a few more days, so now's a good time to check it out.
Nice. And you said it's open, right? Open
yeah,
beta?
totally open. You just go to the site, they give you a CD key for free just as soon as you sign up, and then just download and play.
Cool.
And they have like everything in there. They've like I can't even explain how much stuff they have in there, like housing and dungeons and raids and open world PvP. And if you want it, there's tons of the housing is probably the most robust housing you'll ever see in any MMO.
The housing?
And now I'm interested.
Yeah, the housing is.
You mean is it better than Fable?
Yeah, it's way better. You can like actually physically
Joking,
place.
obviously.
Wow.
Fable
I can't
is,
explain exactly.
yeah.
It's got everything. You can physically place like objects and resize things and move them around, and you have little farms and stuff. You
And
can
we can have
get,
house
like,
parties.
House parties, and you can have neighbors and invite them over. It's like this crazy thing.
Oh my god, they made a Sims MMO / World of Warcraft.
Sorta. It's really impressive. And the game is fun. It's really goofy. It's kind of like it's World of Warcraft graphics, but it's a sci-fi game. And so it took me a minute or two mentally to figure out like what am I playing exactly? Is it cartoony? Is it sci-fi? Is it serious? It's definitely more of an adult themed, less kid, more adult themed with the content. But it's got the goofy kind of cartoony graphics, and it's this weird hybrid, and it's pretty cool.
I think they had a preview for it like a couple of years ago, didn't they?
Yeah, it's been advertised for a long time.
Yeah.
And now
I was excited back then. I gotta get my PC built. Shit.
That's pretty cool. I would play it. I already bought it. Actually, I bought it on Friday.
Skip up on Elder Scrolls.
Yeah,
anyway.
we're not going to bring that one up yet.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But that's because I'm a big PC gamer too. I want to bring that up. I am playing a lot of that, and I'm always playing Arma as usual. But I discussed that last time, so that's hoping to beat. And back on the Xbox side, I'm hoping to beat Child of Light maybe this weekend. I'm on my weekend right now. I have a couple more days on my weekend. That's about it. So thanks.
All right, let's go on to Carnal.
I've still been playing Dragon Age Origins, and I finally moved on to the expansion Awakening. Finally. After getting every single achievement in the original game.
So you're not even trying to just beat him to beat him, you're trying to get every achievement too?
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, might as well do it right.
Oh,
Just-
I'm
I must
gonna
be
do
playing
Dragon
games
Age
wrong,
2
man.
as well.
Uh-huh.
So.
Alright.
And
Be
then
fully
Witcher 2.
immersed.
I have to catch up, man. I never played these games before.
Anything else, or is that literally all you've been playing?
On regards to gaming, I'm building a PC soon.
Yeah.
With the help of Channing.
My lack of expertise and just say, hey, try these parts.
Hey, let's
we
put
can
these
glue this together.
So.
You need super glue and no, that's about it. MW, what are you up to?
Oh, just about the same as everybody else. Still playing that Dragon's Dogma and a little bit of XCOM. And yeah, I've been sick the last week. I was sick on the last podcast we did, and then my boy's been going to the hospital, so I have not been having a ton of time to play games. Mostly XCOM when I get a chance. That's it.
Alright, and then I think Average, you're up.
Okay. Battlefield 4. Getting reacquainted with Battlefield. Been playing that more than anything else recently. Still playing Titanfall. Also playing Child of Light, Killer Instinct, and when I get a chance, slow RPG that's on the PlayStation 3 called The Witch and the 100th Night. That's enough, but that's it.
Well, since a few of us are getting back into Battlefield, and I think a few people from the community have been playing Battlefield more lately too, as the burnout on Titanfall is kind of getting to that point where we're maybe just waiting for DLC. You know, let's address we didn't plan for this, but let's address the status or the state of the online play right now. I know I don't have as many issues. The occasional rubber banding, I don't crash. Does anyone else experience any of these issues, or is everything pretty much fixed for you guys who play more than I do?
For me, knock on wood and steel and anything else that'll give me luck. I never had all of the issues that most people had. For whatever reason, I never had all of the issues. I might have one or two, but not everything. So for me, it's always been able to play, but it's definitely 120% better to play right now with all of the fixes they've made.
Yeah, I mean, I played it. You know, it's the reason I bought my Xbox One. Well, not the only reason, but it was the one that pushed me over the edge. Man, I got to play 64 players. You know, I don't want to build this PC. All right, we'll get the Xbox One. But you know, I had a ton of fun. I played it for a month after the Xbox One came out, and I had nothing. I just couldn't afford another game, and I loved it to death. Issues or not launch, it as time went along, it just slowly just started dragging me down. You know, I couldn't take it anymore, and there was other things to play. I think that's what pushed a lot of people away. It's a okay game, and the issues aren't that bad as everybody makes it out to. But if it was going to be your only game you wanted to play, that really starts to, you know, try to drag you over time. You know, you can't rack somebody through the coals for that long and not fix the issues like you keep promising. Yep. You know, people expect a game at 6 months to be a darn near perfect experience. It has not been yet. Yeah. So I think that might be the main issues.
Yeah, it's definitely getting closer. The problem is it shouldn't take half a year to become a functional, you know, bug-free game. And you know, unfortunately, we could go on forever and have our own podcast about the whole Battlefield 4 fiasco. But I just wanted to touch on that real quick to make sure that if anyone else is interested in getting back in, that it's playable.
Look at all these battle packs!
Funny story with that is I originally bought Rise, and then I saw the reviews, and they were terrible, of course. Stupid of me, I took Rise back and got Battlefield 4. And then I heard about the multiplayer. So I took that back. Neither one of these games got open. I just took 2 games back.
And you missed out on 2 great experiences. Sorry for you, buddy.
Yeah,
pretty much.
They're both great games. Yeah.
No, I'll play Rise eventually. I don't have the money right now. I gotta save for that computer.
For all Battlefield 4's faults, it is a great game. The game itself, when it works really well, and it's great. It's just one of those games that, man, if they had come out with a flawless launch, it would. I'd still be playing it, you know, more than I do now. I wouldn't have lost the interest I did at one point. Something about every time. There was one point where it literally every time I wanted to spawn on a squad mate, it would crash to my dashboard. Every single time, so I could only play deathmatch because that way I wouldn't accidentally spawn on someone.
You didn't have to spawn on anyone, yeah.
So, and they fixed that fairly quickly, but then I still got crashes to dashboard, you know, randomly, and it's just, all right, you know, after the second time in a 20-minute span, I'm like, all right, what else do I have to play? So,
right.
Yeah, there were certain maps that would load on the 360. Every time I saw them, I was like, all right, and I'm done here.
Hinen Resort, you had to quit.
Yep, Hinen Resort, yep. And Golmud Railway there for no, it wasn't Golmud Railway. It was the downtown one at night. I can't think of
Dawnbreaker.
Dawnbreaker, yeah. Every time, boom. All right, well, got to restart this. Yeah. I load up a new map. It's Dawnbreaker again. Damn.
All right, so let's move on here. So let's go. I got just one real quick thing I want to throw out there. It definitely wasn't me that found it. I can't remember who actually found it. I'll dig it up here in a second so I can give someone the right credit. But someone posted on our forum about this new site. It's xboxclips.com. So xboxclips.com. Basically, you can put in any gamer tag, and it will pull up all that person's videos in one nice, neat interface.
Not all.
Not all?
No, it will only pull up, I think, the last 30 days.
It's been updated. If you go there now, not to cut either one of you gentlemen off.
That's all I had to say, so I don't know enough about it, so go ahead.
Excuse me, it has been updated. It actually has discuss comment section now. And there's a little button at the bottom of the clips that if you want to pull up more clips or older clips, you can pull up more and older clips. Cool. You can also right-click on those clips and download them directly to your desktop. So if you make YouTube videos like I do, you're getting an uncompressed MP4 that you can use to do your editing, as opposed to compressing it, uploading it from your Xbox, downloading it to your computer, and then compressing it again when you go to do your editing, because it's been compressed to hell.
Pretty cool. I noticed when I clicked on it in Windows 8, it opened up the video in Windows Media Player for me.
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
Same here.
Yep. So
wow, this is I'm at it right now. Yeah, you're right. That is amazingly great.
Yep.
So that was real quick, that was Redmond Original who brought that to our site. So thank you for showing us that and bringing that to our attention.
Cool.
That's yeah. Whoever made this site also, just congratulations. That's great.
Well, the funny thing is, I never really thought about that, and then once it's there, it's like, why didn't Microsoft or someone else do this sooner? But yeah, one of those things I don't think anyone else really thought of, since you have so many other ways to share it, that no one really thought about creating a site where you could just pop in a gamer tag and see everyone's stuff.
Well, it's in the same vein as the True Achievements websites. Kind of like, why wouldn't you just make a centralized place for all the achievements? But at the same time, if you have a community to do it, then you don't have to waste your resources. You can just concentrate on making the box better.
Oh yeah, Microsoft's been doing that for years, just letting people have a little bit of the code that they need and letting them go at it, and they make stuff like this all day long, and it's amazing.
How did someone do this? That's crazy.
He's looking at it like, wow.
I've never heard of this. That's amazing.
It's
I
neat.
think it's pretty new. Yeah.
It is. It's very new, and it's nice. I'm glad we found
Somebody
it.
got
Redmond
APIs for
found it.
Xbox.
Yeah, someone probably got worked for Microsoft, or someone works as a programmer and was tooling around with their developer kit and said, "Hey, call it Microsoft. Hey, can I have these code lines, and can I post them on a site and just pull clips off your site? No, nothing illegal here. We all know where they're coming from.
Yep.
Can I?" And I'm sure they were like, "Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to make our stuff better for us and we do no work? Absolutely. Tell us what you need."
It'll be very interesting to see if they start making ad revenue or something like that if Microsoft cracks down, unless they have the full blessing of Microsoft, because Microsoft is pretty strict about some of that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that site if they just
Right
go
now,
ahead and allow
everything
it. So.
is they have a donate and a little bit of ads, but that's all that I see on here.
Yeah, they may let it go for a while, or they may create their own that could just kind of replaces it. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
So, in order for your clips to show up there, I'm not sure if it's going to have the same security as the Xbox One, but you have to allow anyone to be able to view your clips on the Xbox One. So I'd be interested if you set your security to not allow anyone to see your videos, if your videos would actually show up there.
I really doubt it.
So that might be the way that you get around it, because if you're already sharing it with anyone, it doesn't matter. Because I can share it with anyone on Xbox and they can do whatever they want to do with it for the most part, especially like OneDrive, same thing. So, I mean, it'll be interesting. We don't want to talk about it all tonight, but...
Yep. Anyways, the site works now, so go ahead and use it. Hopefully it'll continue to work, or if it doesn't, something else will come up in its place that allows us, because now that we have it, it's kind of... I don't want to lose that method of...
I love it.
Why aren't we funding this?
Someone else already is.
Speaking of funding, you guys didn't spend enough money on Source, that game that I absolutely loved. It did not get funded.
Oh, no.
Shame on you all. So, it has still come out, but who knows what the future holds. So it's kind of surprising that game did not get funded, because I've seen some pretty awful looking games get funded.
I never heard of it.
So I linked it.
Did you?
Yeah. So it was there. But,
I think you even discussed it. Yeah.
Anyways, sad to see games like that didn't make it. But anyways, I don't want to spend much time on it. There's nothing we can do about it now.
But Shaq Fu got funded.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about
Shaq
Fu.
Oh God! I remember what Source is now. That should have funded. That seemed pretty neat.
That game looks like it could be a lot of fun. I'm just saying. Looks funny.
Fu.
Yep, I think we've spent enough time on Shaq. Actually, I think we spent more than enough time on Shaq Fu forever. So we'll go on. We have a couple bigger topics we want to talk about. Make sure we get time for all of these. So
what's bigger than Shaq? Sorry.
That Chinese guy, he's pretty big, right? He's like 8 foot.
He doesn't play anymore.
All right.
It's Yao Ming.
And Yao Ming.
Yep.
All right. So first thing on these topics, I want to bring up quickly some of these leaked E3 show lists and topics that, frankly, they're so rumored that I'm not going to spend much time on these, because they very well, in fact, they probably are wrong. But there's a couple of really cool points that I want to bring up for the Microsoft side, and I think MW has one or two from the Sony side that he wants to shed some light on. Again, these are not fact. These have not been confirmed. They haven't blatantly been shot down yet either, which is why we're talking about them. But just keep in mind that these aren't news, so don't go on E3 expecting these and then be disappointed because some of these didn't come through. Because, yeah, don't blame us. Couple quick things from the Microsoft side is Rise 2 is in development. Again, this is all rumor. Rise 2 in development. It's a medieval setting. Forza Horizon 2 is supposed to be announced for a release date this year.
Gaming boner.
Halo 2 and Forza Horizon 2. I think we're all anticipating and expecting Forza Horizon 2 to be announced for this year. I think we just kind of expect it, so that doesn't shock me, and that could very well be true. Halo 2 Anniversary, again, heavily rumored. One that,
we know we're getting some Halo this year for sure.
Yeah, they've already said there's Halo coming in 2014. We have no idea what it is, but we'll find out at E3 for sure. So
Halo Wars 2.
I would be shocked and surprised and happy, but
I'd
shocked.
be disappointed because I don't like RTSs, but
it's a good thing no one cares what you think, right?
yeah, well,
Yep.
probably.
Okay, so those were really quick ones. There's a couple that I thought were really interesting. Supposedly, Rare prepping reboots of Battletoads and Perfect Dark. Yeah, and supposedly Perfect Dark is going to be rebooted as a third-person adventure game in the same vein as like an Uncharted.
That's weird.
It's weird, but at the same time, the type of Perfect Dark story and everything could very well work as a sort of game like that. I don't think the settings would be the same. It wouldn't be out in the wilderness necessarily, but
I could see like cities and like hanging out the buildings and stuff
like the
that.
sci-fi version of Tomb Raider. Is that pretty much what it is? I don't know why I'm thinking about that.
They mentioned Uncharted specifically, but I mean Uncharted and Tomb Raider are all in the same vein of adventure games.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool simply because we have enough shooters. I'm okay
we
with
have
the
enough
shooters.
first-person
Yes,
shooters.
correct.
We need more third-person games, definitely.
So
Definitely.
as long as they do it right, I'm not going to be one of those guys that say it's blasphemous to reboot a game as a different type of game. As long as it keeps the same feel as far as the stories and just the general aesthetics of the game.
As long as they don't change Joanna Dark, then the game is fine.
What part of her do you want changed or not changed?
Just her whole character. I enjoyed that. I still have my Perfect Dark Zero,
which is a good
collector's
game.
edition. It's a good game,
Yep.
and she was a good female character, which is something we can get into a lot later on down the line. Like there's a lack of culture in characters and main characters in video games. But she was a good character. She was a very good character, and if they can make that character and just make it in the third person, I'm sold.
Yep.
That was more serious of an answer than I was expecting.
Would you want to say, yeah, she's kind of hot, so don't make her not hot?
Yeah, I was thinking something else. But yeah, on that, just shortly on that same topic, I thought, like, to go on similar topic, Tomb Raider as well, like, Lara Croft was totally a mature approach to a female leading character.
Yes.
Which I think is what you're talking about as far as what you'd like to see as Perfect Dark as well.
Don't dumb it down.
Definitely.
This is probably, in my opinion, on this entire list, is probably the most interesting one to me. According to this list, Epic, will be there to unveil a new game based on the Samaritan demo, which I think we all know what that is. If you haven't, go look it up. And it's supposed to be exclusive to Xbox One. Microsoft is a publisher.
That would be very surprising.
It would be. Hang on. It would be surprising if they hadn't done it in the past. Epic and Microsoft are very cozy and have been for years. Microsoft never owned the Gears of War rights. It was always an Epic owned until recently, of course. They could have probably done a Gears of War game for another console. I doubt there was something in place that said they couldn't make one for any other one out there. So, is it improbable? Maybe at this point in time because Epic wants to make money, but it's not impossible. And it wouldn't shock me if Microsoft partnered with Epic because they've done it in the past. So.
Well, speaking of partnering with Epic, the Black Tusk will have a CGI trailer for Gears of War Lazarus.
No, ain't gonna happen.
That's the one thing on the list that has me,
the one thing that's
suspicious.
impossible.
No, I don't mind it. I don't see
Why
it
wouldn't
not
they?
possible.
It's CGI.
They just bought the IP how many
Yeah.
months ago?
But how hard
It's
is it for a
impossible.
100-person team to create a CGI trailer?
No.
hard.
I don't, that's not the part that gets me. I could see a CGI trailer. I just don't think they'd settle on a name already. That's the biggest thing I'm against.
I think they
yeah,
could.
okay, yeah. Well, I mean, it's not about the trailer because you can't just show, well, here's some raw unedited footage. It's got to be, hey, here's our main character.
No.
Here's him going through the world. You can't. Gamers hate that though.
Yes.
You got to understand.
But they also
start showing
wanna-
off just random stuff that has nothing to do with the final game. They're gonna be pissed.
No, we won't.
Well,
Because
you
if
know
it's-
what? To your point, MW.
No,
To your
no.
point, MW. You must have never watched a Sony E3.
Oh, I was pissed every time. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And I don't say that,
Down
and
the road.
anybody that's listening, I don't say that as a Microsoft fanboy because I have just as many Sony titles in my house as I have Microsoft titles, but I also remember watching Killzone 2 at E3 in 2000 and whatever, so don't tell me that you don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. And that off-road
Yeah.
game by the Drive Club devs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that thing was all real.
Motorsport. Yeah.
Oh, Motorstorm. My.
Anyway, let's
The
continue
CG
down
mod.
the.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on this, guys.
Yeah.
So, as you mentioned, Black Tusk, potentially a CGI. It sounds more like a teaser than a trailer, so that would answer your thing. It'll probably be like one of those 30-second snippets of basically indicating what the series would go to. Lionhead supposedly has another game, which I think it's pretty well known that Lionhead is working
Yeah.
on a second game right now. No one knows
Yep.
what it is, but supposedly they're going to show something potentially from that one as sort of a teaser.
I've got a
Hope it's
theory
Eden
on that
Falls.
one.
I
Sure.
hope it's Eden Falls.
I think it's actually going to be a black and white reboot, or a black and white 3 or something.
It's
That would be
possible, but
awesome.
that's Molyneux's baby.
Right.
I don't know if they want to go back into Molyneux's world again since he's no longer
I
part
just-
of that.
I forget where I read this now or what exactly the details it was, but there was some ripple of chatter about a black and white game being in development. Which this is me talking, not any official source or anything. That would be pretty awesome. I think the Kinect is a perfect way to introduce black and white.
Possibly.
Yeah,
because
that
I never
seems
played
my
the
bad.
original. I heard they were great. The black and white. Is there just one or is there two? For some reason I
two.
remember
I think
two.
there's
Okay,
two.
that's what I
Two.
thought. But
But I don't. I mean, I personally would think it'd be awesome, but I don't know if that's true or not. Because the game Black and White, if you aren't familiar with it, the gestures you do with casting spells and stuff is what you do with your hand. Like you're drawing circles and drawing stuff in the air and stuff with your mouse
Oh,
usually on the computer. But yeah,
alright, well, we'll find out.
I mean,
Less
hey,
than a month.
yeah. If you're listening to this, come back on the forums in a month from now and tell me I'm wrong.
I will.
So-
I'll do it on the podcast right
Okay,
after E3 too.
cool.
You were wrong.
Couple last little bits. Quantum Break supposedly will be out this year, which would surprise me. At the same time, it wouldn't surprise me. I think they really want to get it out this year because I think Microsoft wants a heavy hitter from them specifically to be out. And if it's not going to be Halo 5, I think they'd love to have a game like Quantum Break out for their system. Secret Japanese game. I'm even going to bring that up. Some sort of Platinum
Beautiful
Games
show,
thing.
like
Yeah.
X. Who cares?
Who knows?
Tons of Japanese games coming, more like it, but okay.
That's pretty much it for that. There's other stuff on there. If you want to know the entire list of supposed show topics, go ahead and hit the forum.
Well,
It's in the E3 thing. So,
I do want to bring two more things up on the list.
all right, make them
That
quick
they
though,
will
because
announce
we've already
Xbox
spent way
One
more.
Gold immediately. That would be interesting.
Xbox One games with gold specifically.
Games Gold, my bad. And Division switching to the lead platform as on Xbox One.
Yeah, well, we don't know who the lead platform is now.
Well,
so
yeah. That's
maybe
what I
they'll
meant.
announce it. I don't know. They usually don't announce lead platforms though, so I'd be shocked if they just came out and said, "Oh yeah, by the way." Like
Sounds
usually
like the
they,
Benjamins.
By the way, they slipped us a little bit of money, so here you go.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
pretty much how it would go.
it's not implausible because it's such a big game and online focused that maybe they're making it that way because of the Azure servers and just the online nature of Xbox. I guess it's very possible, but
To be fair, we did see Metal of Gear.
Metal Gear.
Metal of Gear.
What the hell am I trying to say? Metal Gear Solid. We
Metal
saw
Gear.
Metal Gear Solid on stage at E3 on the Microsoft stage. So, just throwing that out there.
You mean
That's true.
revengeing?
Yeah.
That would,
Let's
I mean, it could happen.
yeah.
Microsoft's
Yeah.
got a lot of money to throw away, so throw around.
Well, yeah. This is not really related to Xbox, but according to this list, Fallout 4 will be announced.
Yeah.
Sure.
We
So,
should run down Sony's. Just
Okay.
Yeah, we're not
I'm
going to spend.
gonna-
Most of that stuff is really not worth mentioning, but I know MW
Yeah.
has one or two that he wants to bring up. So
All
Well,
rumors.
yeah, these are all rumors.
oh
Yeah.
God, yes. Rumor, big quotations here. If we had hands, we would show you. Well, I want to bring up.
I have hands, but you mean if we had a camera, we'd show you?
I know-
That you meant? Okay.
No, he meant if he had hands.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. MW doesn't have hands.
You play games. How do you do that?
With
All
my
right.
mind.
Oh, if only the game.
That's
was
why I
there.
always sound so messed up. Anyway, bringing up basically, these were 3 points brought up by somebody else that I just pulled up, and I thought they were pretty interesting to mention on this whole, Microsoft Sony rumor mill going on here. On Microsoft's side, Rise already, really.
Yeah.
It's not even been a year.
You mean Rise 2?
Yeah. I mean, sure,
Well-
they might be in the planning stages, but why show off something this early? I mean, it's possible? Sure.
Keep
Why
in
not?
mind
The
that-
whole list is possible.
Well, keep in mind
But it
that
just
list is-
doesn't seem realistic.
That list is huge. So if
Oh, yeah.
a lot of these aren't going to be like, 5 minutes of gameplay. They're just going to be teasers, basically letting you know that hey, this is in development. Here's a 20-second teaser trailer. So just because they're showing it, or even if this list is completely
But-
true, most of these are just saying, hey, it's in development. Rough.
But Microsoft doesn't do that.
They haven't. But this is the first E3 that he's in charge. He is in Phil Spencer. Don Matrick didn't do that.
Well, yeah,
Phil Spencer could come out and just say, bam, here's 40 games we're developing. Not all these are coming out this year.
I don't really think he
There's
wants to go
40
down
games
Sony
that
route.
suck
I
at
think
Sony.
at this point they need to.
No, they don't. Why? I mean, we're literally sitting on tops of tons of games coming out before the fall.
Correct.
Literally, my wallet is crying
But
at
most
this very
of those
moment
are
in the corner,
multi-platforms.
like I beat it.
Yep, most of those are multi-platforms. They need to come out and say, bam, here's 10 exclusives that are coming. And I'm not saying that I'm not unhappy with the games that are coming, but they need to, for the people who don't have an Xbox One who are sitting on the fence right now, they need to come out and say, this is why you want an Xbox One. Not only do we have these games coming out this year, but look at these games that are coming out in the next 2 years.
But you got to understand, they also have more than games to show off to us. They also have, they have apps, and
They
they
won't
have
be talking about
all
apps at E3.
Okay, they might not be talking about them, but they're going to show a little quick flash thing real quick, and they're going to show off, a bunch of stuff that they're just not talking about. Maybe they'll talk about it at their booths.
Point out there's also E3 is not just the conference, the hour and a half conference on stage thing they have. It's also
Oh, absolutely
all the
not.
press, the behind the scenes press interviews and stuff too.
Okay,
And
So they might-
also, keep in mind with Rise, like the title that you're talking about directly, Rise, the original Rise was in development way longer than just for Xbox One. Remember, it started as an Xbox 360 game, so it's not unthinkable to think that they have a sequel in the works, because the sequel may have been what was supposed to come out on the Xbox One when Rise originally came out on the Xbox 360. Remember,
Okay,
it started off
that's
as Connect-only title on the 360, and then
But-
it evolved into what it came out on the Xbox One. So they may have something in the works. So
Yeah, I'll definitely give that credit. I mean, that's very possible. And for all we know, Crytek has several studios sitting there. I mean,
Right.
they've got to have guys working on their engine. They've got to have guys working on certain games. Honestly, I want to see Rise absolutely all day, every day. But what I really want is my home front. They bought that IP. They were working on it before the IP got stolen or sold to them. So I want to see some home front too. Anyway, moving on. Sony London AAA game. Not gonna happen.
What does Sony London develop, by the way? I'm not familiar with Sony London.
iToy games.
Oh,
Every single one of their
okay.
games has been an iToy, iDance, this, that. iPad. They've done Wonderbook. They did Playroom. They did SingStar Queen, SingStar Pop Edition. Beats. They don't do any AAA games. They've never once in their entire history. The closest they got was like Porsche Challenger in 1997. I mean, come on. They're gonna
SingStar
make
is
a
in AAA.
AAA.
Well, AAA in the sense of what we
Did you
guess.
have to ask?
AAA
Yeah.
batteries for the microphone, or
Yeah,
what?
there we go.
I mean, let's.
That's about as close to AAA as I think you get with those games.
Project Morph is games already.
Yep.
No, not this year. I'm sorry. Sony's just not going to start pumping out games for.
Sony's also talking about a Siphon filter reboot as well.
Siphon
Well, I mean
filter.
that's possible, and that looks cool. I'm just talking stuff that's just not possible. But I mean, there were a lot of cool things on Sony that I want to see, but a lot of it was written as, "Oh, they're coming back with stunning visuals, 1080p, 60." Why would you write that?
All of these games are going to be stunning visuals at this point. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, every one of these games should blow us away visually. But why did that need to be written down? What Sony fanboy wrote this list? Because only a Sony fan who's really diehard into that system, really wants to see all of these things happen, are going to write, it's stunning visuals, the best thing you've ever seen in the world. Like, it didn't need to be said. When we see it, we'll understand.
I'm gonna, because I like arguing with you, MW, I'm gonna counter that because I'm not gonna go on the tangent too much, but just because the recent listing for the Watch Dogs, for Sony's, I'm trying to get to it right now in my background here. Sony's advertising the Watch Dogs just came out and said that Watch Dogs is gonna be, let me read this, experiencing Watch Dogs in a way that only PS4 can provide at 60 frames per second at 1080p. That's official from Sony, so I'm not too. The idea that the list that's been rumored for E3 is pointing out this stuff isn't necessarily throwing me. It could be Sony.
Yeah, but their media guys didn't write this. Their advertising guys shouldn't have wrote this. They shouldn't even have seen this. I mean, they weren't, unless their advertising guys did write this.
Yeah.
It wasn't leaked.
Planned leaks. This is about that time where you would see a planned leak too, right within a month of E3 to try and gain more interest in E3. The more people they have watching and paying attention, the better it is for everyone. So these could be completely false, but they could also be legitimate leaks. So.
And then, of course, my very last point that we're going to say here, 2 leaks in like a day and a half. Yeah, okay.
I noticed that too.
Not E3 leaks. I mean, not the entire written down list. Average brought that up to me.
Yeah, that kind of made me go, I understand the leaks, I understand the timing, but when one leak is done, and then a couple hours later, the next leak is done, it's almost like I'm going to wait a couple hours, and then I'm going to type something else, and then I'm going to say that it's a leak as well. So it's just a little bit fishy. We've said it multiple times. This is all conjecture. It's all rumor. None of it's fact.
Yeah, we're spending way too much time on rumor.
Yeah, I do want to say I didn't know about that siphon filter thing. If a real siphon filter sequel or reboot came back,
now we got him interested.
I would potentially buy a PS4 just for that game if it was done.
What?
It's got to be 3.
I almost bought a PS4 this weekend, by the way. I think I told MW, but I almost got a deal for $200 on a PS4.
What?
Yeah, I didn't get it because someone else claimed it. Yep, someone else claimed it on Facebook. It was one of my girlfriend's friends was selling their PS4 for $200, and I missed out because I was the third person that wanted it.
I'm still waiting for the. I will buy a PS4 if there's a really good co-op split-screen RPG. I will get a PS4.
Yeah, there is one. It's called Diablo.
Well, no, Diablo's coming. Diablo's coming to Xbox One.
Yes, we think it is.
Yeah.
We think it is.
No,
it hasn't been announced, but it's coming. You can.
They never announced the 360 version
the problem
either.
is,
I mean, come on.
Will it come out before we all stop caring?
I don't really care about that. The point is, it's coming.
Oh, that was a year ago, so guess not.
Yeah. I mean, they missed their opportunity. I know they probably got paid to not release it on Xbox One right away, but I think they missed their opportunity to sell a lot of Xbox One copies because by the time that this exclusivity deal comes to a close, I think
there'll be too much other stuff to play.
No one's gonna want to go back and play a game that's a year old or 2 years old, if that, more than that, because it came out on PC. Yeah.
I told these guys earlier in the party, when there are 3 PlayStation 4 titles that I can't get anywhere else that are actually worth it, I will get a PS4. But it has to be 3, no less, than 3. The one game for $400 thing is not working this generation. I did it for the PS3. I can't this time.
Yep.
It's got to be more than one.
But yeah, that's enough on the rumors. Oh, I'd love to comment on the E3 leaks for Nintendo, but of course they ain't gonna be there, so fuck.
Yeah, they do have a I think we talked about that last week. So they do have an online thing.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see how they do that and what it turns out to be. Because there's rumors that they're going to announce some hardware. Who knows?
I have speculation that Nintendo is going to shock the crap out of this year.
I have a feeling
I've heard rumors to that too.
They're bringing hardware to it, so.
I mean, I still think the hardware is going to be that damn Nintendo gamepad for their figurines.
It's going to be a new Wiimote.
Yeah, we talked about that last week too. I know, so I
Yeah.
spent too much time getting back into the
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Yeah,
We got a lot
let's
more to
move on.
discuss. We're gonna move on, or
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
move on. So, I think the next one's Sunset Overdrive. I think
Yeah.
Carnal
just
wants to talk
bring it
about
up.
this
we're
one
not.
first.
and
Yeah.
Just for the listeners, we're no longer talking about rumors now. Now we're talking
Yeah,
about
that's,
real.
yep, rumors done. Big bold letters. We're on to real stuff now.
Honestly, this is probably my most anticipated game now for the year, is Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah.
It just looks amazingly fun.
So let everyone know what came out this week too, like what type of media, in case anyone missed it, like the trailer.
There's a trailer, I believe, and there's I don't know, there's a ton of information. I'll have to pull some up. If anyone else knows, go on.
Oh, I do.
Go ahead.
First, there was the magazine articles. They had some scans, from the magazine articles. I think it was GameSpot that first released the video, or it could have been Game Informer. Don't quote me. It was one of those sites. They released a little 3-minute video to 2 editors sitting down, and they showed some of the footage that they captured while playing the game. That footage was shortly turned into GIFs that were spread all over the internet for people to drool over.
Or to fight over, depending on which place you're going to.
Oh, well, I was just about to get into that
Okay.
because the Digital Foundry, of course, took that video and decided to try to pull pixels and frame rates from a video that was posted through YouTube, and we all know how YouTube compresses the hell out of everything, so I don't know why they did it, but clickbait, whatever. So Insomniac, being the good guys that they are, said we weren't going to do this till next week, but since you guys wanted to direct a crappy little video, we'll give you the official Sunset Overdrive video, and they released it for us to watch. Regardless of which way you got the information, it all looked good.
Yep, and it was like a 4-minute long.
4-minute, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't.
All-
It was kind of neat.
All I gotta say is next gen respawning. That's all it needs to be said about
Pretty funny.
those videos. That was funny. That was hilarious. But it looks like a great game. Looks like an awesome game.
So, for anyone who hasn't seen the video, what this game really looks like is a blend of the craziness of, I believe it's Ratchet & Clank series with their weapons, blended with a Dead Rising.
Dead Rising.
Dead Rising sort of, town overtaken by zombies, combined with like the agility of like a Jet Set Radio, if you want to go back. It's kind of the 3 games that I've seen. If you merged all those together, you'd end up with Sunset Overdrive. So.
And just make it very colorful, very, very big on a level that I don't think Jet Set Radio could have achieved at that time. And gorgeous. Like, if you like colors, if you like a colorful game, you will not be disappointed with this one.
The Order. Sorry.
Some of the effects from one of the guns was like a sparkler gun fireworks thing, and the blues and greens, and just all the colors on the screen at once that were coming off. And I mean, it looks good. It's very, very easy on the eyes as far as the color palette. It looks fast as well. I'm not sure how many of you have played Dead Rising, but I know one of the knocks on Dead Rising was sometimes the pace, the kind of speed at which the character moves. It's fine for me. It's a zombie game, and that's what Dead Rising always was. It was always a little bit slower pace. This one does not have that problem at all.
This one
Definitely
just
a
looks
fun game.
like pure concentrated fun.
Yeah, I'll say it looks fun. Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I am less excited for it after seeing the videos.
Well,
I'm one guy. I'm like that
gonna
guy.
disconnect you from this podcast right now.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
Please dismiss yourself.
I think I'm probably the only one. I know I'm the outcast here, but I'm not saying it doesn't looks like fun, but I just, after seeing the trailers and the new video came out, and then my first thought was Dead Rising 3, and I don't know. I guess it's not filling a void that I have in gaming right now. It's more like it's just I've done that, so I don't know. Maybe just me. Maybe I might change my tune after it comes out and I play it or something. I don't know.
Did you like Dead Rising 3?
And the funny thing is, I haven't even beat Dead Rising 3 yet, so.
But did you like
I liked it? I liked it. It was one of the actually, it was the second game I bought on the Xbox. I just didn't have time to play on. Actually, well,
have you played Jet Set Radio Future?
no, I know what that is, but I haven't played it.
Okay, well then I guess I can't really.
I haven't played much Dead Rising 3. That's a different issue because of my timing and the save.
Yeah.
In games that can save the state where you're at are helpful to me, but if you have to save and then have to replay some parts or re-travel places, it takes me longer to finish because of my personal schedule. But yeah, I think the Sunset Overdrive looks freaking beautiful game. It looks smooth as hell. It looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun, but it didn't fill the void for me, the videos. So.
Understood.
Yep.
You are
That's the other
entitled
side.
to your opinion. Yep.
That's the other side of the coin.
You just lit my sail on fire.
Yeah. Yeah. It or something. What was I gonna say? I don't remember. I lost my train of thought. Was there anything else we wanted to bring up on Sunset Overdrive, or is that pretty much it? We still don't know everything there is to know about the game. It's just we know more than we knew, obviously, a week ago. So.
Hopefully there'll be a release date at E3. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Well, according to that leaked thing, again, rumor, it was August-ish.
Yep.
So take that with a grain of salt. Take that with a block of salt.
we were talking about it before the podcast, and something in the title of the game kind of tipped it off to me. They have a Day 1 edition for Sunset Overdrive that you can pre-order. The only other Day 1 edition games came out with systems. So we do know that they are relaunching the Xbox One in September for, the rest of the territories. It's very, very, it could be possible that it's a Day 1 edition because it's going to launch the same day that the console's doing a new territory.
Very good point.
Where did you see the Day 1 edition naming?
If you go to GameStop, it'll
it actually says that?
Yep, says you can, pre-order the Day 1 edition Sunset Overdrive. So.
Well, hopefully it's not just another, they're going to start calling all games the Day 1 edition since you reserved for Day 1.
You know what's funny though?
That's what I was thinking, but I don't think so.
They haven't yet, so.
What's funny though? I kind of wouldn't want the Day 1 edition just because I think the case on the non-Day 1 edition would be much more colorful. Because the way they did Day 1 edition with Dead Rising and Forza, it was just that silver platinum color behind it. It was kind of bland.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe they'll put a color art book or something in there for it or something. You never know.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see if it's an actual thing. So, all speculation.
Yep. Next topic. I think we're done with Sunset Overdrive. So Elder Scrolls Online was delayed for consoles, give or take, 6 months, which puts it. What?
I said nope, don't want it anymore.
Oh, well, hang on. So 6 months from the time it was released, or was supposed to be released, which was, I believe, end of this month, or is it June? End of June is what it was originally kind of slated for. They never had a full-on date, I don't think.
No, they didn't.
That puts it right at the holiday time, right smack dab in the middle of every other game coming out. It comes out after the big guns in October, November, and comes out before the other big guns that are coming out in February and January, like Witcher 3 and company. I know others are going to have similar thoughts, but I went from a 90% buy, if not 100%, because I was really craving an MMO for my console, to pretty much no chance in hell, probably, of me buying this game at that point. I just won't have the time or the money to invest in that if there's that many games coming out that I want this holiday season.
How dumb could you be? I understand they gotta work on it and they gotta fix stuff, but around that time.
Well, what do you think the reasons are for it? I have my own thoughts, but
Well,
they think the game's not finished,
time. They said it's not finished. They said they need time. Their reasons were vague, but they also didn't. It's definitely not to get out of the way of any other games because they had a great release date scheduled for an MMO.
Yeah, they did.
They had Watch Dogs would have been out for about a month, but there wasn't any big, time-consuming games. I don't think coming out right near
nothing
that.
else would have. Nothing else would have been out.
Yeah, it would have filled a great void. Until Destiny came out, it would have filled that month or two long gap of I got something I could put a ton of hours into. It definitely wasn't to get out of the way. so it has to be purely that the game wasn't ready. But I'm sure they weren't happy about it. I can't imagine that anyone's happy at that company that it got delayed to that point in time. But I would rather see them finish the game than do it. I know this gets into another topic that we're going to talk about here, but does anyone else have any speculation on this particular one, or is everyone kind of in agreement? You do?
I've been saying this for long on the podcast, obviously, but I've always believed that Elder Scrolls is going to go free to play, and since they first announced it, and since I played the beta weekend like months and months ago, and that's my first thought was about it, that it'll go free to play within about 6 months of its release, and it's kind of strange timing that they decided to delay it 6 months. I compare it to like Star Wars The Old Republic. I'm gonna go off on a little bit of tangent here, or a little bit of a rant here, I guess, but like the Star Wars The Old Republic MMO on the PC, it's the freaking Star Wars universe, one of the biggest franchises ever, as far in the sci-fi nerd realm, and even that couldn't maintain a paid subscription for more than a few months. It went free to play within about 6 months or so, or less. I forget the exact number, but I just can't see Elder Scrolls game continuing the subscription base for more than a few months. And because of this delay, my first thought was maybe they're going to launch on the consoles as a free-to-play game, and then convert the PC over to free-to-play at that point too. So I don't know what's going to happen exactly, but that's my theory. So
I don't know how, especially since on both PS4 and Xbox One, when you're paying $50 or $60 a year for Live, that you then turn around and pay $15 a month for a game to play online when you're already paying to play online.
Well, I was ready to. I know Carnal was.
I mean, and I understand that some will.
I don't even think it's some. I think a lot of people would. We're craving an MMO. So
there needs to be a good MMO on a console. I totally agree. There needs to be something on the console that isn't a year or two old on the PC, PlanetSide 2-ish.
And that was about to be my point, that you can't get on the PC, because if you can just get it on your PC at that point and just pay $15 a month as opposed to. So I don't know. Maybe they saw something in their numbers where they were like you're saying, maybe we should just make this go free to play, and we need to get that set up. So let's delay it 6 months. But
my big thing the thing that makes me think that that's not correct, and it very well could be, is simply that it doesn't make any sense. Because even if they were going to go free to play 6 months from now, why wouldn't you just release it now? Get the sales and the monthly subscriptions that you can, and then everyone who had bought it and maybe let it lapse, they'll come back and play when it goes free to play. You know what I mean? Like in 6 months. But they're losing a huge amount of money by delaying this. Not to mention that launching, even if it's free to play, a game right in the middle of dozens of other games that are coming out this holiday, both good and bad. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It may very well go free to play, but I can't think that's the reason it got delayed. I just can't see it. I think that would be way too big of a risk. They should have just released it if that's the case, if it was ready. Made whatever money they could make off of the retail and the subscription, and then they would have gotten even more money by going free to play after that. So,
yeah, that was my second thought. Is that maybe there really is some delays because it's not ready yet. But even if they release it in the holiday with like all the rest of the games are coming out free to play, there's no reason why a console gamer wouldn't, unless they didn't like the Elder Scrolls games. There was no reason someone wouldn't try it.
Sure, there is time.
Well, I don't think even that would stop anybody.
Money's not stopping me. I didn't even bring up the money side of things. It's purely a time thing.
Yeah, but I'm gonna attack you directly here. Sorry, but
attack me or just argue?
Not attack me. I'm gonna directly address you here. Would you honestly would you try it though if it was free to play in the holiday? Like say you had like 5 other games going on and
not if nope, not if Destiny was still going strong and I was enjoying that, or if Division and Quantum Break. By that point, I might have a PS4 depending on what they announce. No, I wouldn't even waste the time to download it. Because I just wouldn't have time. Plus, with Witcher 3 coming out in late January, early February, wherever that is. I mean, there's so much coming out that why would I even want to start a game that's free to play, knowing that in order to really get the most out of a game that big, you have to put hours into it.
Okay,
I just wouldn't even start
it.
So others might, and other people will obviously. It's not that no one's going to download it. I personally wouldn't. So
I'm looking forward to seeing how that all plays out because I want to know if either my theories are right or if it's something totally like maybe it's just a delay because the game's not ready or what. I don't know. But I'm curious to see how that plays out. So.
Alright. Yeah,
Well, I mean, on the topic of delays and games that you wish had come out 8 months ago or that you thought were coming out this month, we'll go through a little bit of a calendar. I'll mention a couple of games and we'll mention a couple of scenarios, and y'all let me know what y'all think. Whether or not game delays are good, bad, or if you're indifferent to them. We'll start with Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs was supposed to come out November 19th on the PS4 and, 22nd on Xbox One, or, somewhere in that time frame. It didn't. Ubisoft decided to delay the game. And it's now coming out in June, so that's, 6-7 month delay for that game. Dying Light recently was slated to be a 2014 game. No longer coming out in 2014, pushed back to February. And then games like The Witcher that never really had a release date. Everybody thought maybe it was coming out in 2014. Again, another game that's tentative for 2015. If you look at October and you look at the game releases that are coming out in October, just to pick a month where we have confirmed releases, you have games like The Lord of the Rings, Shadows of Mordor, you have Dragon Age Origins, you have Alien Isolation, and you have Drive Club, all coming out on the same day, October the 7th. A week later, you have Batman Arkham Knight coming out on October the 14th. You have Call of Duty 4, or Call of Duty Advance, whatever you want to call it, coming out on November the 4th. Destiny comes out in September. There are games coming out in August. Evil Within comes out in August. If rumor is to be believed, Sunset Overdrive could see a release in that time frame. So, with the game delays, do you think that it's good, considering that with so many games coming out within each other that the games are delayed? Are you upset? How game delays affect you as a gamer?
I'll start, I guess. So I take it game by game as best I can, and I also, whether you should or shouldn't, I take it on a developer by developer basis too. There are developers that I just trust more than I trust others. The Witcher, for example, if they say that it could very well be to get out of the way and try to have more of their own time in early 2015, but if they say they need more time to make the game as good as it can be, their pedigree to me allows me to give them the benefit of the doubt. Watch Dogs with Ubisoft just has a history of delaying their shit all the time. Like, they always announce loose release dates and then always push it back. It's kind of a running theme. So it scares me because that means who knows when we'll see The Division. But that's just me. I take it game by game. Like in the case of the one we're talking about, obviously, when you delay it into the release window of a whole bunch of other games, it doesn't make any sense to me because you just probably lost my sale, or it at least lowered the possibility of me buying the game unless it's really great. I'll let someone else talk.
I think MW should talk.
Is MW
so
there?
Quiet. He's been so quiet.
Someone should say something.
Okay,
well,
I'll go, I guess. I don't know. Delaying, with me, it depends on the delay. With some games, it needs it, obviously. And some games just pisses me off, like Elder Scrolls. It makes me want to break a lamp. But, I don't know. I don't really have a lot to say on it.
How about delaying to, like, obviously with Dying Light had a tentative release date of fall. My thinking is they saw everything that was getting ready to come out, and there is a lot. And this, as a gamer,
we should point out too, there's guaranteed there's some unreleased or unannounced games that we don't even know about, but they may know about. Yep.
And with those unannounced games, I mean, like, for instance, Microsoft has been saying that there will be a Halo game this year. If you're a developer and you have Dying Light, which is a different game altogether, it's a different game. But you release a game like that close to Halo, or you release a game like that close to an Assassin's Creed or a Call of Duty, you have the chance of that game diminishing and almost not selling because no one's paying attention. So do you fault the developer for pushing it to February to make sure that it gets seen, or are you mad because you wanted to pick it up when you thought it was coming out?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm
go
going
ahead,
to say,
Billy.
just like what these guys said, I mean, I take it by game to game. As long as I have something to play, I'm happy. If you want to delay your game because you need to make it better, then I'm all for you. If you want to delay a game because you're incompetent, like, I don't know, Elder Scrolls. I mean, that's your problem. Basically, as long as I have something to play, as long as you have something to keep me interested, that's fine. And if you lose my sale because you put it into a slot with another game, they can't always anticipate all that.
Right.
So, I mean, there are always going to be overlaps. There's always going to be problems. There's going to be, issues with the industry. Like, what was it, last year there was that studio. They lost all of their work. Their whole studio flooded.
Yeah, it's the guys making, was it
Look,
No Man's
their
Sky
information-
or whatever the hell that thing is. It's the guys who did Beautiful Joe,
Right,
I believe,
I
right?
mean,
Or whatever it was.
Right, that was Beautiful Joe. But you just never know what's going to happen. So, as long as you try and you're earnest about it, I think it's getting into a lot more into the industry where they're going to have to be more upfront with fans. We're getting more demanding, we're getting more stubborn, more entitled, as it were. I think we want to hear a little bit more, whether we deserve it or not. But we're getting to be more social whether we like it or not. We're going to drag the old people kicking and screaming towards it. But you don't always have to say exactly what's on your mind. But we just want to hear that we're alive and you are actually listening. And we want to actually see you do that. We don't want to say, "Oh, you're listening," and that never comes to fruition. Yeah. I hate people like that. Thief. We're listening. No, you're not. That game sucks. You're wrong. You didn't listen to anything anybody said. That's not a good Thief game. But anyway.
Yeah.
It's a good game. It's a good game. Just not a good Thief game.
Yeah. So, my opinion on the specific, scenario that Av3rag pointed out about, what if they move it out simply to get out of the way of some other games, like Dying Light, we think probably is part of the reason. Well, I kind of have to say I'm okay with that because of the opposite annoys me when they delay it into the middle of a bunch of stuff.
Exactly.
So if they do it and it's a game I'm interested in, I'm also interested in 3 other games coming out within that 4-week span.
Yep.
Then really I shouldn't be mad about it. I should just be, unless it's like the game that I was looking for.
Right.
Of course, then I might be a little annoyed because that was my game. But if I'm looking at all 4 games, I have to feel a little bit like, oh, thank you. Like
Thank
a little bit of relief.
Exactly.
Now, I totally get why anyone would be upset about it, but at the same time, like The Witcher being delayed, I'm okay with that. I want to spend time on that game.
Yeah.
Dying Light I'll probably end up getting, and I'm okay with that being delayed. But yeah, that specific scenario it's one of those weird ones where it makes business sense, but also makes sense for
it makes
the
sense for
hardcore gamers. Yeah, not the
Definitely.
casuals who have specific favorites, but the hardcores who buy a lot of games.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Because I mean, if you just look at October 7th, just October 7th, no other month before or after. If you're a gamer and you play games, there's easily $300 to be spent in 3 weeks on video games. Easily.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 240 because you don't have to buy Drive Club. You can just download it and play 90% of the game for free. But like I said, you have Alien Isolation, which looks great. You have Shadow of Mordor that looks good too. I mean, it looks like a good game.
Well,
Dragon Age Origins.
Shwing.
And then, a week later, you have Batman Arkham Knight. Now, all of those games will go to everybody. But 2 of the 4 will. Most gamers, if you're a gamer, 2 of those 4 games are going to appeal to you in some way, shape, or form. So to get out of the way of that and save me $65 after tax so that I can, not only enjoy your game, but enjoy not having to work the triple overtime to pay for your game, I appreciate it.
Yep.
I absolutely appreciate it. Yep. But it can also, in the case of Watch Dogs, take the taste out of your mouth because you looked at this game for a year and a half at E3s. You saw it played at E3 months before. And then 3 weeks before it's about to release, they go, you know what? We're going to make you wait another 6 months. That can deflate your sales, kind of like an Elder Scrolls. It can totally take the wind out of your sales.
Well, that was even worse because they didn't even give a time. Remember when they initially delayed it, they just said it's delayed. They never actually said, it's coming out. We just found out about the release date only a month and a half ago.
Yep.
Maybe even less than that. So
it can definitely be a double-edged sword.
Like MW is saying, developers need to be more open with us, because without us, there is no them. And like MW is saying that whether we deserve it, of course we fucking deserve it. We're the one giving them money.
We do.
Yeah.
We don't know about you.
But you've also got to understand, these are people. These are human beings. They are doing. Some of them are doing the best. Some of them are sitting there collecting a paycheck. And I hate those people in this kind of industry. That should all be fired because it is an art, whether they like it or not. Whether Activision wants to admit this is an art industry, not a hey, let's make a Call of Duty every year industry. But you got to understand, these people are working for paychecks. They're working for, they're doing the best that they can. But at the same time, we would like to hear about them doing the best they can. We want to give them, claps. Although I know, everybody else will probably just berate them. But we won't get too far into that. But there's a trap with the information, and there's only one game that I have to bring up to.
Sorry, that was pretty funny.
To tell you about that trap and that Singularity. They gave all that information about how you'd be able to bend time and how great this game was going to be, and it looked phenomenal. But then crunch time came. They could not make the game that they wanted to make because of financials, and it ended up being what it was. Wasn't the most horrible game, but what they said to us and all that information that we asked for that they gave to us, 70% of it ended up on the cutting room floor because of stuff that happens. So they have to be just as careful with the information that they release to us as we have to be careful asking for all of the information.
Yeah, we'll look at Molyneux and Fable.
Yeah, Fable is another perfect example. Is you have to be careful with asking for too much information because, like you say, it's an art, and any artist wants to put everything out on their canvas. But video games are a business, so that art piece goes up to the business piece, and the business piece cuts out 60% of the art and puts in commerce. So while the developers would love to do this, the people above them say, no, get back in your place. That's not going to make any money. So we just have to be careful with that whole give and take. So
it's a balance. I think we're getting closer. I mean, I think a lot of the bigger devs, at least, even indie devs, are very open. It seems like, but partially because they have to. That's how they drive their interest is by being open and getting people interested. The AAA devs seem to be getting more and more open with developers on Twitter and. Look at all the studio heads like Vince Zampella. They're always on Twitter, talking to people and answering what they can without giving away too much. But
like I said, a little bit more openness. I don't want to know your whole story, your whole life story, your whole game story. I just want to know you're working on it and that you're having a good time doing it. Because if you're having a good time doing it, that means it's going to be a great game. If you're having fun, if you're passionate, that means I've got something to look forward to. If you're being enslaved or whatever you want to say for that, so that ain't right.
Yeah.
But
Did you beat
if you're
that
just
game
being
average?
Nope. Not second or third time.
Okay.
No, but
But I mean, if you're just sitting there doing the same thing or something you don't even want to work on, it might be an original game. But if someone didn't listen to you and you didn't get to have your input, you're not going to put your heart and soul into that game. And I don't want to play that particularly. So.
Yep. So, before we move on to the next topic, can I make a statement that I think we'll all agree on when it comes to the delays specifically?
Sure.
If a game needs to be fixed, delay the game. I don't
Please.
think any of us here will ever argue with you if the game is broken. please don't release a broken game. There's no quicker way to lose your fan support and alienate the gamers. I mean, Battlefield's a pretty beloved franchise. It doesn't have the following that Call of Duty does. I think that everyone knows that. It doesn't sell as well as Call of Duty, but the fans are very into Battlefield, the ones who do like it, and it rubbed a lot of us, including myself, the wrong way with Battlefield 4. Now, does that mean I'm not going to buy Battlefield 5 or whatever the next iteration is? Yeah, I'm probably still going to buy it, but does that mean I'm going to go drop my pre-order the day they announce it like I did with 4?
Nope.
Probably not. I'm probably going to wait and see how development goes and get a little closer to release date this time and play it by ear. So
I'd like to add something to that. Chano said that don't delay the game unless something needs to be fixed. Now,
I said if it's broken,
yeah.
delay it. I didn't say don't delay it for any other reason. Just
yeah. No, what I mean is just don't delay it if it's a single player game and the single player's done and you want to fix the multiplayer. Because games with like does anyone remember Darkness?
Yes.
The multiplayer was completely broken, but the single player was amazing. Do not delay it because you want to fix that tacked on shitty multiplayer.
Yeah. Well, Battlefield had a single player that was technically not broken.
Crappy multiplayer. Ooh, yes.
Yeah,
that's a good topic for me.
All right.
Who wants to hear that rant again?
Before you finish up, Chano, because I haven't even talked at all of this topic yet. Been following games for so long and seen games released early because they had to get money to further fix the game. I'd rather see a game released late and delayed and then released when they're ready rather than released early.
Yep.
That's my answer every single time.
Yep.
So.
And if that's really the reason why they delayed Elder Scrolls, for instance. I'm not happy with when they delayed it too, but I'd rather have a complete game if I end up buying it than have a broken ass console version. Yep. So, anyone else have any last bits on that piece?
Well, just about Watch Dogs in general. I'm buying Watch Dogs day one, and the
So
whole
am
delay
I.
thing bug me. And speaking of, it's kind of a catch-22. It was delayed, and it was kind of lost some hype and stuff. But again, they're releasing the game in a time where there's not a whole lot of other games being released. So
Yeah, they kind of lucked out in that regard.
Yeah.
As far as when they did.
I'm getting Watch Dogs and Wolfenstein. So.
It surprised me that they were going to release it so close to Assassin's Creed to begin with, to be perfectly honest, because it's similar games. So.
Yep, same studio, or not same studio, same publisher, sorry.
Right,
Yep.
so, but...
Yeah, well, some more people making the joke that it's Assassin's Creed Chicago. That was one of the joke that I heard from that one.
Yeah.
So it's obviously not. We've seen enough of the game to know it's not Assassin's Creed, but it's got a lot of the same principle to it. All right, I will move on. So MW would like to give you some quick numbers. We're already getting a little long, so we're not going to spend too much time on this, but we do want to bring these up because there's some interesting stuff regarding one of our favorite games. So.
Okay, we'll go to Nintendo first because theirs is pretty
depressing.
Negative. Yeah,
Yep.
it's pretty Nintendo at this point.
Yeah.
All right, so Nintendo released their little financial results statement for the year. They had originally predicted they were going to sell 9 million Wii U's this year.
Was it this year, or just by the end of this year they'd have 9 million sold, or was it they actually?
No,
saying...
that was the financial report for the fiscal year.
Okay.
Which ends March 31st. So they've got 20 days. Good luck.
Wait, ends May 31st, right?
Or
March?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, their fiscal year. Let's just leave it at that. We're obviously very well informed and did our research.
Numbers are hard.
right, so
I'm
continue
pretty sure
on.
it's the end of May 1st. Same with Activision and EA, which I'm getting to next.
Okay.
Anyway, so Nintendo posted theirs. They were trying to sell or predicted to sell 9 million Wii U's. They were trying to end up with a forecast of 5.6 billion in operating revenue, which, if you don't know, that's total amount of money made, and then you take out the bills. But anyway, so what they ended up doing was only selling 2.9 million Wii U's for this year. They hit about a third of their goal, which that's bad. Now they didn't do so terrible, but what ended up killing them was that the DS didn't support them this year. 3DS sales were they were predicted to sell 18 million 3DSs this year. They did a revision to 13.5, so even the 3DS didn't hit its goal. And basically, what ended up happening was Nintendo was going to say they were going to make a profit of. Sorry here. They predicted they were going to do a profit of $545 billion. They ended up losing $245 million.
Billion, right? I was saying, damn,
billion, yeah.
Richest
they
company
were
ever.
They were predicted to gain their prediction last year, 455 million. They ended up losing 245 million instead.
It's a big swing.
So that's all bad.
Yep.
They didn't have any positive gain anywhere. Their Wii U's basically just they sat on the shelf and gained dust.
Yep.
Just like they did when they got to the houses that they did sell on. Now the really bad thing about all of this in Nintendo is they don't have a plan.
Well, we don't know what their plan is. We're going to find out at E3.
Right.
That's not to say that they haven't told us what the plan is, that's for sure.
Well, here's what they said to that. They are going to be refocusing on making Wii U games and employ its differentiator, the gamepad. That's always been the differentiator, and you've never done anything with it, so. Anyway.
Yeah, there's really not much to discuss on that. We can all just agree that Nintendo's not doing well financially, and we talked about Nintendo quite a bit in the last podcast, so I don't want to spend too much time on
as we always said, we want them to do better.
Yeah,
that just sucks.
No one wants to see Nintendo fail.
No.
You know, there aren't many fanboys who just want Nintendo to die. There's lots of 360, or not 360, Xbox and PlayStation guys who would love to see the company go down for whatever reason, but most people don't want to see Nintendo leave the gaming industry.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, as Cardinal said, Sony on the other hand is doing fantastically. But their sales were last month, so we're not going to talk about
the PlayStation's doing fantastic. Sony's not. We should make sure we break that down into two separate entities there.
You're going to have to tell everybody in the world about two of them. All right, so we're going over to Activision. Activision came out with a 6% year-over-year gain. They ended up making a revenue of $4.5 billion. Would it be?
Yep.
They ended up making a profit of $1 billion.
Yeah, that's
for
good,
a
really.
software company.
A lot
That's
of money.
Insane.
Yeah, that's pretty good margins, and they did good.
Now
Call of
that
Duty.
was yeah. Oh yeah. Now that was down 12%. Last year they made 1.15 billion. So, anyway,
yeah,
their shares actually went down 20% because of that, though.
Yeah, it's funny they made $1 billion in profit and their shares go down.
But they didn't make as much. So
one thing to tack onto that, the best-selling, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember reading an article about that. The best-selling game on the next-gen consoles, not including the Wii U, is Call of Duty Ghosts on both platforms. So, as much as people love to hate Call of Duty, it still sucks.
It still sucks.
No, it still sells.
Oh,
Sorry, I'll enunciate a little better next time. It does still kind of suck. I wasn't a fan of Ghost.
It is the top selling game for the next generation of consoles. They didn't sell. They didn't say really anything more than that. They said Call of Duty and Skylanders. That was their two big highlights. I mean, come on, it's really a terrible Pokemon game with figurines, and people are dumb enough to keep buying it every year.
Did Activision talk about their comparison of their current $1 billion profit compared to last? Well, both what they projected to have and what they made on the last Call of Duty? How it compares?
They did not do predictions. It said it outperformed their previous outlook. But still, they had slipping sales. So they were predicting that Call of Duty wouldn't do as well this year as it did with Black Ops 2. But it still beat their projections, so I'm not sure why their shares went.
Yeah, that's what I was leading towards. I wasn't sure. But.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, they sold $2 billion, lifetime sales, by the way. $2 billion worth of Skylanders merchandise. $2 billion in little plastic figurines. I mean, these guys are making, they're making Lego. A little jealous over there.
It was a genius idea. Skylanders.
Yeah.
I'm gonna plug in Nintendo's. You don't have Nintendo stuff, or not Nintendo, Sony stuff. Financial statements. I have that on top of my head actually.
Go right ahead. Because after this, we'll go to EA.
Yeah, go ahead with your
story. Go ahead.
I'll plug in. I know that, and this isn't just PlayStation. This is Sony in general. I believe it was back in November they predicted a 1.3 billion. No, I'm sorry. Back in November-ish, they predicted an $800 million profit. A couple months ago, they reduced that to a $1 billion loss, and now they've revised it again this past couple weeks to a $1.3 billion loss. So that's where Sony's going. 1.4.
1.34.
Oh, 3.4. Got it. Yeah. So as far as their financials, it's going down the drain. But then on the flip side, PlayStation 4 is selling outrageously. So I don't know, and of course whether or not they make any money on the PlayStation 4 hardware sold, I don't know. But
they do not.
They're about break even. No one knows for sure, but break even or so.
So the software sales, and of course the PSN Plus is where they're going to make some money. The question is, are they going to make enough to? I mean, that's a huge. You're not. They can sell quite a bit of software for profit, but is it going to be enough to bring them out of the negative?
No.
Closest
within the next
average we saw, because remember these are all PC parts. You can go out and buy them now, except for the GDDR5. Closest breakdown they had was they made $8 per console. Now that's before.
Well, Sony came out and actually said flat out they were losing money.
Okay,
so I don't know how
at launch,
shipping and packaging and all of that fun little bit. So that's $8 dead and gone per console. That guarantee it. So
and it kind of dwarfs the Nintendo's loss is pretty much dwarfed by Sony's loss.
Right.
And then,
by the way, they have about the same company value. Sony and Nintendo do. They are worth very close to each other. Nintendo makes games.
17 billion, is it?
Sony makes a lot of stuff, and insurance, and movies.
Yeah, Sony's dropping their TV, or no, is it the computer business they're dropping?
They're dropping their PC business. They said they lost $1 billion. No, I'm sorry, $100 million on that deal alone.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they sold their first headquarter building in Japan this year. They sold it for around $1.1 billion, which we thought I really did believe that was going to make up for their projected loss of $1.3 billion.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's definitely worth noting they've sold off quite a bit of stuff, and they still are posting this big of a loss. It's not good news for Sony. So the PlayStation will always be there. I don't think PlayStation is going anywhere, but their parent company is
shrinking.
Yeah.
Sony is shrinking rapidly right now.
Average, you were trying to say something, I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was just going to say, talking about Call of Duty Ghosts, and that you were wondering why the stock price slipped.
Mm-hmm.
It's because compared to Black Ops 2, sales of Call of Duty Ghosts are down 19%. So when you're talking about 20% of your best-selling title for the last 8 years, and it's actually 36% down from Modern Warfare 3, and we know that Modern Warfare 3 was not the best Call of Duty game, but it's still 36% down from that and 19% down from Black Ops 2. You will adjust your stock price a little bit because it's starting to show that the title may not have the same staying power. And, you know, in Wall Street, they're always looking for numbers to be up. So while the company's doing good, that title, everybody knows that Call of Duty is what Activision is for the most part. I mean, yes, they have other things, but it's Call of Duty. In November, it's Call of Duty. So when sales of Call of Duty are down 20%, they're going to adjust that stock price.
Now, at this same press conference, I think they did announce also that they invested $500 million into Destiny.
Destiny, yeah.
So that might have also affected it?
Yeah, definitely.
You know.
We don't know what that means yet either, though. They could just, you know, we don't know what that $500 means. Is it over the course of the lifetime of the franchise, over the next 20 years? Or if they literally pumped in 500 now?
That solid of a number at a conference, you're signifying something. We put a lot of money behind this. We expect it to succeed.
Yep.
Business doesn't like new. They get really scared, and they kind of go hide. So when you throw out $500 million, they really, really go hide. So that could have just been they were a little scared.
What was their break-even number in sales that they needed to make up that? It was quite a huge number, like 13 million or 16 million Destiny copies sold.
10 to 12.
10 to 12.
Well, just the base sales, but you know they're going to have. They may not have an online, monthly
Swag
fee, but there's going to have a ton of other DLCs and stuff that you're going to.
Oh yeah.
But still a huge number. I mean,
it is.
It's still a huge number.
Yep.
10-year
For a
plan.
launch IP,
50
that is
million.
insane. I don't care.
The most ambitious thing I think I've seen, actually.
Mike, you wanna start talking about the EA stuff then?
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
We're heading down the home
letting
stretch.
everybody
Let's
have
do
some fun. All right. Basically, EA was talking about their year-round sales for the 3 months. Basically, their quarter. Ending March 31st, EA posted sales of $1.12 billion. That's down 9% year over year. Their net income, though, is headed in the opposite direction. It's up 13%. So basically, their pure profit has went up to $367 million. Now, for the financial year, total revenues were down 6% to $3.58 billion. Their net income slid from $98 million to just $8 million. So their net income for this entire year has only made them $8 million. But they were still, really positive about their sales. Basically, 40% of the games sold on next generation hardware. 40% of the games sold on next generation hardware have an EA tag on them. That's Xbox One and PlayStation 4. 40% of the games. You've got to think they have all their sports games. They're, you can't get FIFA anywhere else. You can't get, you can't get sports games except for on EA titles. Battlefield, Titanfall was huge for them also. They said, one second here.
I don't like math.
Yeah.
Math is hard.
So, yeah, focus on the Titanfall specific numbers if you have them. Those are what we really want. That's really all any of us care about.
Oh yeah.
Titanfall
sold in the United States alone, physical copies only. This doesn't take into account digital through Xbox One or through Origin, and this doesn't take care of the rest of the states that this is out in.
In countries, you mean?
They sold or the rest of the country's state. That
we know what you mean.
All right. Titanfall sells 925,000 physical copies in the U.S. alone.
Yep.
Does everyone here?
You know,
Everyone here owns Titanfall. Did anybody here buy it physical?
Yes.
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 Oh, so I'm the only one who bought digital.
Cabin bought it digital. He's not here to say it, but Cabin bought it digital.
I wasn't gonna wait 3 hours, man. I didn't have time. I wanted to play.
Yeah, those games.
Plus, for a game like that, I'm gonna keep that game. I know I'm gonna keep that game, and I like going out into the community, and I like talking to guys who like stuff like me. I like going out and hanging out. You know, same reason I jump into a party every time I'm online. Because I like talking with guys. I like, seeing what they're up to.
You
what
enjoy
other
talking
games?
to just guys, huh?
Hey, is it my fault it's a sausage fest in here? Y'all could bring a girl. I'm just saying. Mine happens to be sleeping.
Yeah, that's a lot of copies. I mean,
That
was only March. I think they specified that too. That was only through the end of March. That did not include April. I could be wrong, or is it through April?
No. That was
just March.
Only March.
Yeah, so it sold pretty well in
360
April
copies
too.
were not included.
Yep, because they didn't obviously.
They
launch
didn't have
them.
it. It wasn't out.
It was like the last.
They have the sales data.
Yep. So that's a lot in the first week, and it'd be very interesting to see the official numbers because I think it still sold pretty strong even through April. Because there was lots of level 1s, and unless they just had the game since launch day and hadn't played, I would imagine that it was still selling pretty well. I still see level 1s all the time on that game. Brand new people playing it. So, alright, welcome back. You're obviously you guys only experienced a minor delay, but we had Skype completely crash on us. We had to restart Skype completely. So we were pretty much at the tail end of our discussion for the podcast. We're talking about Titanfall sales specifically, and I think the conclusion is it sold a shit ton of copies in, 2/3 of a month basically, because it came out on the 11th, right? Am I correctly?
Right.
March 11th.
Yeah.
So over 900,000 copies physical in one country. Granted, we're probably the biggest country as far as that game sold in. Is pretty staggering for a new IP on a console with only, at the time, if you believe the numbers, somewhere between 4 and 5 million units sold. Is that right?
Yep.
Right around
I think
4.
so.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what kind of the general consensus was. So that's a lot of copies. I mean, if a quarter of the overall console base bought one game on physical media, that's a staggering amount. That has
And that's
to exceed
within the first
expectations.
couple of weeks, too.
Yep, that's 3 weeks basically.
So
A little under 3 weeks. Yep. So I don't think anyone else has too much to add. Does anyone else have any last bits? Oh, I should mention we are going to bring up the Microsoft specific financials in the next podcast. It'll be one of the earlier topics. Podcast's already long. We want to make sure we give it its fair share of discussion time, so we don't want to rush it in at the end here. So we'll be
spoiler
bringing it
alert, it's very positive.
up. Yeah, spoiler alert, Microsoft makes money.
Money.
They make a lot of money. So.
Money.
All right. Anything else, anyone?
No, I'm good.
No.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. We almost made it a whole podcast without any technical issues. Of course, right at the end, it happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully you enjoy it. We'll record again next week. Yeah, thanks again. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night,
And
everybody.
if you guys
Thanks,
don't want
everyone,
Chano on the next podcast, just say
There
it in
won't
the
be a
comments
podcast.
below.
Yep. All right.
All right, guys.
All right, good night.
Thanks for
All
listening.
right, later.
All right, man.
Thanks for listening.